Right.
Yeah, and actually, my next guest is Larry Nemecek of Portal 47. So
Well,
yeah, I know it's kind of meta, right? Kind of weird. So if you have questions for Larry, um, please put those in the chat. I have lots of questions for Larry because I've known you, Larry, for like 5+ years now, and I
we
remember when we
met.
met. Yeah,
Yes,
you remember?
you say it on the floor
Okay,
at Comic Con San Diego,
that's right. Comic
and
Con
you
San
were
Diego. It must have
all
been like
guining. You were
I was
guining
head
out
to toe Guinan, big hat, yellow dress. It must have been like 2013, maybe 2014.
before the last few years, before the Star Trek comeback, and before the 50th.
It was
If I
before.
saw anyone at San Diego in Trek guys, I was like, I have to stop and talk to this person.
Yeah, same. Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, I think I was asking you questions too. Like, I didn't know who you were at the time, and I think
Well,
did I stop you to ask
vice
a
versa.
question or something?
No,
Yeah,
I think
because
I
you were
stopped
wearing
you to
something.
take a picture, to do a cosplay
Oh,
picture. And then
okay.
you told me about your idea for a Guinan story and a
Mm-hmm.
younger Guinan, and you were
Mm-hmm.
all in Guinan. It was like a yellow ochre,
Yeah. Yeah.
mustardy
I
Guinan?
should grab that hat. You know what? I'm gonna grab that hat on my next break. I'll
Okay,
rock my Guinan
okay.
hat if it fits over my hair.
Anyway, but that was the beginning, as Louis says to Rick, of a beautiful friendship. So I'm so
Yes.
glad we did meet, because then I opened the door into the improv, met more of you, but the whole improvised generation troupe and this incredible world
Yeah.
that you guys are now
And we're,
taking
yeah,
virtual.
like
Yeah,
I know this is your time to talk about your stuff, but I'm just gonna, since you opened that door for
I,
me,
I
I'm gonna
did.
say
Or
what's so lovely about us doing this work, like improvised Star Trek, is that we're fans and we're also professional actors who are now just like marrying our interests on stage and now
mhm.
in on Twitch and in Zoom. And it's so fun to like practice our craft and our artistry as actors and improvisers with Star Trek and doing it in a loving, reverent way, not trying to like this is not our IP. So it's not like we can like make money off of doing this, but we're doing it in a like very dedicated, steadfast manner. And it is especially rewarding when people like you, Larry, people who are professional Trek people who come in and love our show and give us so much love and support. So thank you
Well,
so much for
well,
that.
you're very welcome. And again, it's the kind, it's I call it within the family. It's the same way people. I
Yeah.
know people were really paranoid about Lower Decks being a comedy and
Mm-hmm.
being animated, and I think
Yeah.
most and a lot of people still the humor, they get it, and the humor is not
Mm.
quite their brand of humor,
Yeah, it's
but
not for
still,
everyone.
but they get it that from the heart, it's coming from a bunch of
Oh yeah.
fans. It's like 10 years
Yes.
of Facebook memes, you know.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of
Yeah.
in the family humor. Now an outsider can't get away with this, but if it's in the
Mm-hmm.
family, then it's yeah, and that's
Right. And
what
what's
the
great
improvise
is
is.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's actually, okay. So we're talking about improv, but let's talk about you, Larry.
Oh,
So
okay.
tell me, so you have two banners that you work under. Your amazing work as a Star Trek preserver and journalist. You've written books about Star Trek. Can you tell me what Trekland and Portal 47 are?
Well, there's a danger. I had a lot of interest when I was a kid. I wound up
Mm-hmm.
going into theater and theater and also journalism. Uh, Worked mainly for a paycheck, a standard paycheck in news and journalism. But as a Trek fan, it's something happened where I saw what was happening in behind the scenes Star Trek, which is also a huge fan of mine. That now we say world building, and and now people are doing wiki. Before we had fancy buzzwords for all these things. Those are my interests as a fan, and I that's what I did, and I had a million interests. But as years go by, you've got to focus on something. And when I
Mm-hmm.
realized that there were opportunities to self-publish when the computer revolution came along, and I did my background book, my canon collection for the next generation that wound up on the writer's desks at Paramount, which led to the Next Generation Companion, which was just awesome. And if I'm going to be attached to any show to have been like this revolution in TV, much less Star Trek Companion, that was a great thing to be attached to. But that
Wow.
wound up getting us to LA and working on all kinds of projects and things for Star Trek and branching out and doing that. And then the world turns and we're all digital now and we're doing things
Mm-hmm.
like this and making an adjustment there. And when Star Trek went down after 2005, and it was like, well, what do I do with all this? The world is changing. There's no Star Trek. What do I do? And a few years later, came up with, now we say it's experiences, but I knew there was so much Star Trek that fans didn't know about that I had seen and been a witness to here in LA and working at the studios. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what Trekland is. Trekland is my shorthand way. And Dr. Trek is my shorthand way of not saying author, editor, interviewer, host, actor, director, because that sounds like what is it? Master of none, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, but it's very cool too that you've been able to pull in so many of your own skills and background and then focus it into this work of basically preserving. You're like a historian. You're a doctor of history of Trek.
I hate to go too far with that on a lot of, I say Dr. Trek, it's obviously a mocking. When Dr. Ali and I do Life Support Live, and he's a psychologist, and we say Dr. Trek and Dr. Ali, one of us is a real doctor. But it's a way of saying that, yeah, it's an avocation and a buff and a deep history. And I know I don't have the academic credentials, but that's I have a lot of training in a lot of those areas, and that's what I do. But it's basically me sitting around looking at Star Trek and going, oh, well, I may be weird, but I want this. Or why is nobody doing this?
Yeah.
And why is nobody improving Star Trek? Well, look what you guys did,
Yeah, you know what, that makes sense that we connected the way that we did, because we're both carving out our own little Trekkie, professional / Trekkiness. I had a question for you, because I didn't know that you do tours as well.
Yeah, 10 years ago, Terrace Cassidy, who has a great company called Geek Nation Tours, said, would a tour of Star Trek location sites in LA, do you think that would work? And I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And we've done that several times. And then branching out of that, I call it Trekland Treks now. And I use Trekland as my banner instead of rattling off those 18 or 20 jack of all trades words. I just say I work in Trekland, and I've said that for like 20 years. And now we need handles and labels and things, and it comes in handy. And I realized that we can do, when people are on vacation or they come here for a convention, if you were to take a day tour and pick from a menu and do your own custom, I'll work with you, and then I'll lead you around and also give you the background, things off location maps and call sheets. And you can cosplay. We have so much fun. People that travel with action figures or stuffed figures, and I help them set up their pictures. If the famous places like Vasquez Rocks, and then the obscure places too. And you pick it out and we pre-plan it, and it's a lot of fun. And
wow. So
just cranking with it the last couple of years. And then the pandemic's kind of put the kibosh on that, but we will be back and doing that all the time. So meanwhile, we have Portal 47.
I already follow you, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for these tours, because I would love, and I have some family possibly going to visit at some point. So I'd love to check out some of your Trekland tours. And
well, they're custom, but I also offer them like 2 or 3 times a year. I'll just set a weekend and say, okay, here we're going to do this on a preset schedule if you want to jump in or get yourself to LA. Yeah. Is
there any possibility you'll do like a digital tour, since we're in COVID time?
I have wondered about that, because part of the, informationally, intellectually, it's awesome. Or me go there myself, the masked lone tour guide or something. There's nothing like you being there to take your own, pictures and your own cosplay or experience it yourself. I've thought about that. We'll see how we go through the winter and into the spring, at what shape things are in. I might. I've had people ask me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you can tell us about Portal 47 while we're here?
Well, Portal 47 is the mini con all year long that we do, that I started doing 5 years ago before Zooming was a thing. And it was a way to bring people what we're doing right now. At least the COVID time has let me not have to explain what that part's like. But no, it's all that part of Star Trek. I say Portal 47 is like a mini con all year long. And it's for all the Star Trek fans who have no idea how much Star Trek they still have no idea about. So we hear from backstage people, things out of my archives, and we have roundtables. It's a great community. And we're having our open house the last Wednesday of October, where we basically open the portal up and everybody can come in free. And if you go to my website, the contact is there as we fade out here. There's a big button there to get on the list for open house. It's all free. And we'll have some pre-show prizes, and a lot of fun things happen that night. But that's kind of like my big event of the year for Portal, for the outside world, on top of everything else we do.
Everybody go check out Larry's Portal 47. Go to that open house. There's just like so much wonderful information he shares between that and his podcasts and everything he does. Thank you so much, Larry. Let's roam around this party some more.
I was going to say, thanks for taking a break and letting me. Yeah.